Fox. So, bottom line up front, 2025 is the year that AI ate TechnoMile's product roadmap. And 2025 is also the year we delivered exceptional AI working products to our contracts and to our growth customers. Not just AI, we built out standard workflow capabilities that really provide value. That's what this discussion is about, what our roadmap has been, what we've achieved, and showing a little bit about where we're going with our own platform. So next slide. We have the clicker. Thank you. All right, so here I'm joined by Mick, our Chief Operating Officer. I'm also going to be joined in a little bit by Grant Gearheart, our lead product guy for growth, and by my Suzuki-Scull, our lead for contracts. Before we continue a little bit, all the sessions that you're going to see today, right now, we're going to give you very high level. All sessions later on, we're going to give a deep dive. You're going to see all the details. We're going to give demos. So this discussion is going to give you the pretty high level, interesting information to whet your appetite so you visit all the sessions later. How's this talk going to work? So first thing, Mick and I are going to go through the innovation highlights. So he's going to run through that at a very top level, what we've really done and really achieved. Second, Grant is going to run through the growth suite. That is how we've helped out BD and capture professionals with the workflow and AI tools that we've built. Then Mai is going to go a deep dive about how our tools and the releases we've made helped out our contracts professionals, removing drudgery, ensuring compliance, and overall ensuring that the workflows are much easier. Then finally, we're going to give you a look forward, and that's going to be the AI platform for the future that TechnoMile is building. I'm going to hand it off to Mick to give the AI innovation highlights in 2025.
Thank you, Kevin. Otherwise, we'll just talk really loudly. So a year ago, I sat down with Ashish, as we normally do once a year, and we talk about what are we doing in the coming year. And it actually goes to one of the items that Mr. Benedict just said, which is we need to accelerate what we are building here in TechnoMile. We need to build more, and we need to build more on top of an AI platform. So with that, he's like, okay, Mick, would you move over, work with Kevin, and speed up the level of innovation that we're doing within TechnoMile? And I'm very excited to be able to stand up here and represent, truly, I didn't do any of this. I'm simply representing a group of people that worked with Kevin, that worked with Mai, that worked with Grant, who did an incredible amount of work in 2025. The first thing we started off with, and I want to thank several of the individuals who are in this room, is we looked at our platform, we looked at what we were doing, we're like, our user experience, our user interface needs a complete and utter revamp. So we put together a group of you customers and started from the ground up. And we did, and you'll see this as we go throughout the day, we took a look at all the applications that we use on a normal basis. Weirdly enough, I was obsessed with Netflix and Peloton. And so I've been studying those user experiences with the team. And we said, the thing about those applications is how quickly you go from I have a need to I have an outcome in the fewest clicks possible. Very intuitive. So we spent over half a year coming up with how to improve that user experience using the voice of all of you, represented by about 10 of you, to tell us this is how to get to this information more quickly. So we spend a good chunk of the year working on a user experience. On top of that, we introduced new products, and on top of that, new features. So throughout the day, and Kevin said this earlier, you will be able to go into our user experience lounge and actually use these products that we're representing here, that you're representing here today. So very excited about that. And back to what Mr. Benedict was talking about, what we did is said, okay, forget about AI. AI is electricity. AI is just, it's a drinking game now, and we'd all be drunk by what time is it, 10 o'clock? Truly, it's what do we do? How are we using this for you? If I am a customer, what is it that I'm trying to use this as a use case? And we went out and we built 7 new products on it and took the current products we had and added 19 new product enhancements, which your investment in TechnoMile, this is what you get out of that investment in TechnoMile. And again, what you're going to see from Grant, what you're going to see from and hopefully you all stick around throughout the day, you'll get to see hands-on with this. The other item that we worked on is the content. And I don't know who is the person up here that asked the question about context. You have to have content to create context, and you have to have context to figure out what type of content do you need. And one thing that we spent the entire, and that's why Mr. Brancato is the perfect representative of this, if you all know his history, is we went through and said, okay, if I'm sitting in your seat, what content is important? You know, you go all the way back to the QDR, you go all the way back to all of these just strategy documents and things that are open out, that are there in open intel sources, and you follow the money all the way through to contract closeout. You got to have all that content to enable all the applications that we built. So we spent, and we are still spending time figuring out how to take all this content, which means you got to create a context engine to be able to put all this content into use. So being able to create a framework to be able to take all this content and put it all together. And then obviously, AI everywhere. You'll hear AI quite a bit, but that is the foundation of everything that we focused on. The interesting thing that I talk to people about TechnoMile is 2 years ago, we maybe had a few people in our engineering department that were AI focused. As I stand up here today, half of our engineering department are AI completely focused. And then for those of you who have an application, whether it be on Microsoft or on Salesforce, even those individuals who are Salesforce oriented are now Agentforce oriented. Those folks who are Microsoft oriented are now Microsoft Copilot focused. So even our existing workforce, we've shifted their focus into the AI world. And then lastly, because we stand in a highly regulated industry where security is paramount, and it isn't just security, FedRAMP security, it's what are we doing with your content? Making sure that it's your content, not our content. How do we create an infrastructure where you trust us? So as we deliver these 7 new products and 19 new product enhancements, it needs to be secure, and you need to be comfortable that if I work with TechnoMile, my data doesn't become our data, which then becomes somebody else's data. So security was a significant focus for the company. It is the foundational focus for our entire company. So as I sit and I talk about where did we go with the growth suite, we really used 3 driving themes, 3 driving factors in thinking about it. And this is where I spent my time putting myself back into your seat and said, really, there's 3 things that you are focused on, so therefore everything we TechnoMile work on need to be built. If it doesn't satisfy one of those 3 things, we don't need to build it. And that is, we're all out there trying to find that new opportunity to grow the top of the pipeline. So that goes back to the content, that goes back to how do you take the content, how do we figure out who you are, how do we merge those 2 so that way we can quickly identify new opportunities. Researching the pipeline, it's great to build a pipeline, but how do you actually qualify that pipeline? How do you actually make it useful for you? And then the last one, which was the majority of what we spent the second half of the year, because you had to have the content to create context, was then how do you actually execute the pipeline, which I hope all of you will stick around for the Capture Copilot demonstration that we will have, which is now great. You have an opportunity. How do you actually win that opportunity and use AI to help you win that opportunity? So these are the main focuses for growth. And so with that, what you will see is that under the build the pipeline, we continue to add new data sources. I feel very comfortable standing up here in front of you, and we all know who are the players in the content game out there. I feel very comfortable as I stand in front of you to say, we not only have all the same content that those players have, I guarantee you that we have content. I mean, they don't go out to open source Intel sources, which is a little bit of my background, and grab content and put it in. We do. So we're continuing to figure out all the new additional content sources to make sure that the opportunities that you don't even know exist, that we have those somewhere in our database And then obviously having human beings looking at this, continuing to add some context to it all. So I'm not going to read this entire slide because you're going to see it when Mai and Grant come up on the stage. Researching the pipeline, you all started to get our Doge information. Just making sure, and today it was Doge, who knows what it's going to be tomorrow. I've not read the news this morning, so I'm sure it changed as of this morning. So it's just how do we create, out of all the content we now have, how do we make it usable for you all? And then lastly, and I'm really excited to be able to show this all to you, you'll see where we're going with the executing. So on the contract side, we introduce Kevin.
Thank you, Mick. So as we were thinking through what we wanted to build for contracts in 2025, we spoke to all of our clients that have been engaged with Transform Copilot as we're building out a new UI UX. So I spoke to dozens and dozens of people, a huge proportion of our clients and people who are not yet clients, and for the contract side, and I came to two broad conclusions, maybe some of which have been obvious. Contracts people are built different. What you all want rigor, you want precision, you want accuracy. Sure, you want automation too, but not at the risk of error. So we got to take that and put that into our bank. Second, contracts people have two different buckets. Almost everyone's managing a contract, which is at award or post-award, but some, but not all of you, are also managing a pre-award process. And what was interesting is the AI tools that we built were award, post-award, and the folks who did both said, no, we need it for both. We need one tool for both. And those that actually don't handle pre-award said, I want my partners to have the same tool that we have. And I say that because this is how we've broken out the way we think about the products. So we have these three areas, pre-award, award, and simplify post-award. We've increased our capabilities in all three of those areas. So we have Agentic AI, we have other sets of capabilities we did for pre-award analysis, we enhanced our award intake, and we did so also with post-award and compliance. And what I want to put down here is we've built a ton of stuff and delivered a ton of stuff in 2025. Obviously, I'm not going to read that, much like Mick did not read this. But for pre-award, it's an interesting story here. What we did is build out a pre-award workflow capability in our Microsoft product. And you say, well, that's why just a Microsoft? Because we evolve our products. We actually originally had a pre-award capability years ago on Microsoft, and then we had other clients come in and say, I'd like an even better thing on Salesforce. We built that, and now we built it back again on Microsoft. And now put the AI on both. And so what you see also for the award side is Transform Copilot, Transform Copilot, Transform Copilot. We spoke to our customers, and they said, you really want this to work. We want to summarize. We want to extract information. We want to be able to make assessments using these tools. And we did so, made a whole suite of enhancements across there that Mai will go into. And finally, in terms of post-award, here is where we actually have a lot of legacy capabilities, that is sort of standard workflow capabilities that we hadn't yet touched with inside of our workflow. We knew we needed to for our clients. In addition to enhancing our Transform Copilot for modifications. So you could get a mod document, and we would be able to ingest that, get a series of information about those mod documents, and then easily update contract records. But I really want to make sure that we don't go overhyped with the AI, and you understand where the real value is across some of our non-AI products at this time. First, adverse action management. So we released this right before Doge came out, and some people started getting terminations for convenience, stop work orders, and the like. It was fortuitous for us that our clients had a workflow tool that they could actually go and notify all stakeholders across their organization should something happen to an existing award. That's what this product enabled our clients to do. We had engaged with our clients for quite some time, and they realized this was actually a critical part of the workflow that they needed to be called out and made easy. So we did so, implemented that, and now with shutdown, this is even having more bearing on a lot of our clients' businesses. Second, tracking small business plans. We had something in our tool for quite some time, but it was a little bit hard to use. So we rethought, we went back to basics, asked everyone, what are you really doing? And it turns out you're spending a lot of time, an enormous amount of time. So we spent 2 releases, our first and second release, thinking through how to easily enter a small business plan quickly and efficiently, and then how to make sure you can get value by rolling up the subcontracts so you can see how you're performing against those small business plans. That's available in both our Salesforce and Microsoft-based products today. And then finally, a slightly different workflow. So we had CPAR management as part of our contract suite for quite some time, but it was just a standard. I can even ingest a CPAR using our Transform Copilot capability. Our clients have the ability to download something. What they could not do was what a lot of our clients told us they have to do, is that they know they have to work very closely with their government counterparts, and that their government counterparts can say, can you just give us an assessment, give us ahead of time. That's not a formal process. It's nowhere near in the book, any of the guidebooks, that you're supposed to have you're supposed to give a self-assessment. But that's the reality of the world, and we need to make sure that our products are capable of supporting the workflows that our clients have, whether they're formal or informal. So that's a broad set of the sort of capabilities we've provided on the Salesforce and Microsoft platforms. But the reality is, we're also building our own platform. And so introducing TechnoMile's new platform will be Mick Fox.
So I'm very excited to be able to stand up in front of you today and announce several new products. The core of all of it has been the development of and now release of the TechnoMile platform. So this doesn't render void or anything. Our Salesforce applications, our Microsoft applications, we're going to continue to support and extend those. You're going to see those in all of the presentations we give. However, the back end, with a lot of the utilization that needs to occur, again, I go to content, I go with AI, you need to have a platform to be able to deliver that information, both if you want to just go out to the platform or get to it via your other applications. So we've introduced the TechnoMile platform. Again, it's on a FedRAMP ready. It's FedRAMP. We don't do business with the government, so they won't allow us to say that specifically, that it's FedRAMP. I'll have Aaron come up and talk to it. So it is FedRAMP. With that, it has the new UX. It has all the content that we just talked about. So everything that we're thinking about is how do we leverage that platform and then use the content in that platform to be able to deploy it and make it usable for you all. That is the cornerstone of several new applications that we are turning out, one of which is GovSearchAI. So I know that we've stood up here before and we've talked to you about the content that we've had, and to be able to search for that content. What we had to do at the beginning of this year is rethink how do we deliver the opportunities, how do we deliver the content to you all. And Grant's going to be up here in just a moment, and he's going to go deeper into GovSearchAI. And I'm really excited because this is a culmination of 10 years worth of a vision that when Ashish actually walked into my office when I worked at a company called PAE, this was the vision that Ashish and I talked about. And here I am now 10 years later because of all the advancements that have been able to occur, especially with AI, that we get to officially release the Capture Copilot, which is using AI to actually execute captures with a human in the loop with that.
Sure. One of the additional capabilities I highlighted earlier is that our clients wanted the ability to take what we had done for Transform Copilot and pull it into the pre-award arena. That is, ingest an SF33 pre-award or another document pre-award, so they can ensure that they can use AI to pull out all the key information, to be able to pull out the periods of performance, pull out the clauses, pull out the CLINs, so they can generate a compliant proposal. We have made that as part of our platform, and we're very happy to be able to show you working in one of the sessions later. In addition, Mila, a new digital assistant that today will be kicked off with Transform Copilot, but in the future will enable clients to be able to handle any piece of data or document. So ask your content anything. First, it'll start with a document. Then it'll be the data. Then it'll be a broadening scheme. Then it'll be able to kick off any of these agents that we're talking about. But we have this functioning today, and you can see it in the CX Lounge, and we're going to demo it in a little bit. We really needed to be a FedRAMP moderate equivalent platform for you to trust us with the data that would enable us to provide you this experience. If we didn't have it, you wouldn't be able to give us the documents so we could actually give you this experience. But it's not just a single chat. We've thought through very carefully the sort of workflows that are difficult right now for you all. It's one thing where Mick describes this very large workflow of being able to automate a sequence of capture steps. When a client comes to me on the contract side, they're like, I need to get this very complex data set in the system. This piece of information is really hard to use. I have all these workflows, and I don't know how to make this assessment. And what you're going to see is that we've built a suite of AI agents for contracts that enable those workflows. One being a review and approval workflow. So you come to TechnoMile right now, almost everything somebody does has to get a review and approval in the system. But everyone has to go into the documents, review it, read it, understand. Why wouldn't AI just give you the full assessment in a paragraph, the key pieces of information, and a recommendation about whether or not you should approve and why? I think that is where we are. That's what the basic level of expectation that we should be able to provide to our clients, and we're happy to show you that today.
You can keep that just because
Sure.
it's only one slide. So I talked about this, and I'm being given the wave to say, hey, Mick, speed things up, which is not my forte, so I'm going to try. So I've talked about the user experience. Everything that we are focused on is how do we get in front of you the answer you want faster with fewer clicks. So hopefully today you will have an opportunity to go out into the user experience lounge to be able to see everything that I have up here is really the driving force behind our new user experience, and then with that, the UI. So you can take a picture of that. We'll be talking about this throughout the day today, but hopefully that you will concur with me that when you start to use our platform, you will see that we leveraged all of these themes in what was developed.
To highlight from earlier, content and context, as well as a few other areas. We have AI. We've had to use very specific data, very specific documents that you all have allowed us to use or that are publicly available. So we've trained industry-specific models. But we also have business knowledge. We know what you're trying to look for, and we understand the sorts of pieces of information that are useful. So we've built prompts to really structure that and get it. So we know what a high-quality result is, and we keep evaluating to make sure that we're able to provide that to you. And it's purpose-built with knowledge of the industry. Finally, to hone in very specifically on security, again, you have to trust us. So FedRAMP moderate equivalent. So we're not just FedRAMP ready, we're not just FedRAMP-ish or on some other platform. Yes, we actually have it, FedRAMP moderate equivalency. We were recognized from the 3PAO. We are able to provide that to you and think it's absolutely critical that we are able to support you in this way. So with that, I'd like to be able to pass this to Grant Gearheart, who's going to dive into the growth solutions.
All right, thanks Kevin and Mick. The room looks a little bigger from up here, but I'm usually in the safety of my basement giving these webinars, but Mick and Kevin told me I had to be here today. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. I'm here to talk about the Growth Suite, what we accomplished this year, and what's left to come, because 2025 is not over yet. So the first product I want to talk about is Notices IQ. Notices IQ was launched earlier this year. So when we were talking to our clients over the past couple of years, you all have our current task order ingestion process, the FedTom as we used to call it, and we noticed a few issues that people had as recurring. That was we couldn't ingest all of your notices. You guys are on a lot more vehicles now than we started the company. We have a lot more clients, a lot more vehicles and ways to get these notices. And then number two is that even when we got the notices, we couldn't help you guys do anything with them. We got them in one spot, but really you guys were still responsible for going through them and figuring out if they were actually relevant to your company. So we wanted to make sure that we solved both of those things. So we started with ingestion. We rebuilt it from the ground up. We have a brand new framework. We moved it all out to the GovSearchAI platform that Mick and Kevin were just talking about. And it allowed us to ingest a lot more data and from a lot more sources. So now we don't really care where your data is coming from. You could be on a really small single word IDIQ. You get a notice once a month, once every other month, it doesn't matter. You could even be a subcontractor and receiving notices from your prime. We will ingest it. And we also, on top of that, it's not just emails. We also allow for a greater range of portals that we also ingest from, so it's no longer just eBuy. But again, ingestion is just one part. It's not enough to just ingest from these notices. We also need to make sure that we are doing something with them. So when we built this ingestion, we also wanted to go a layer deeper. And so now we're not just pulling out the NAICS or the PSC code. We're actually going that level deeper to figure out what's the real capability that you guys need to actually deliver to the government. And this allows us to then marry that up with your company and your profile and actually recommend task orders. So your team will still have to go through some task orders. We're not going to get rid of all of them. But they should only be going through the ones that are actually pre-qualified by Notices IQ, hopefully saving you a whole lot of time from having to go through those useless ones that you no longer need to see. In addition to that, we wanted to give more people access to the product. And so, again, when we moved this out to GovSearchAI, GovSearchAI now has enterprise-based licensing. So any one of you that has the Growth Suite, your whole company can take advantage of this. You can log into GovSearchAI. You do not need a CRM license. So we're hopefully saving you some cost there as well. People can log in and view these notices, view GovSearchAI, all that information, and still interact with the notices. And then finally, just as a call out, this is, again, included in your Growth Suite. So if you are a Growth customer, you already have this capability available to you. Please talk to your CSM, talk to Steven and his team. Let's make sure we get you added to that upgrade list because we really want you guys using this capability. I'm going to be doing a deep dive into this, and I think it's the second breakout session later this afternoon. So if you have questions, if you want to see what it looks like in person, please join that. We'll be doing a demo, and we'll be going over it. The second product, Mick and Kevin were just talking about, GovSearchAI. So yes, GovSearchAI needed a large facelift, and it got it. So we've been talking with clients, again, over the past couple of years, and this is not even GovSearchAI specific, but just generally out there, people are tired of using tools that feel like they were designed 20 years ago and never changed. They're tired of looking at all these different opportunity sources to try and find that opportunity and make sure they're not missing anything. So we made sure that we redesigned it again with those principles in mind. So as Mick said, we talked with our customers, we talked to 10 to 15 of you guys earlier in this year and really dove into each of these screens and made sure that the design we had was something that would excite you guys and make you excited to use the product. But once again, without content, you guys aren't going to come back. Yes, we can get you in there once, you'll look at it once, say, this looks really cool, but it doesn't show me anything. So we wanted to make sure we got all that content as well. And so we spent all that time while we were building and designing the system to actually go out there as well and get that content sources. So we know many of you go to 10 plus sources every single day to try and find these opportunities to make sure you're not missing anything. We really want to narrow that down to be one. We want you guys to come to GovSearchAI to find those opportunities. Again, it's going to take some time. We know we got to build your trust, make sure you don't think you're missing anything. So that's what we're going to do over this next couple months, make sure that we are getting all that content. If you guys have content sources out there, please, again, tell me, tell anyone at TechnoMile, let us know. If they're not already included in what we pull today, we will get them added to the roadmap and make sure that we start pulling them. And on top of that, again, going one step further, has to be the personalization, right? So just because we get content from all these sources doesn't mean every single opportunity out there is relevant to you. So with the new GovSearchAI platform, we also have the ability to have user profiles. And so a user profile is very different from what was there in the past with GovSearchAI, where you guys had company profiles, which was really designed around where your company had been and where you'd won business previously. User profiles allow you to expand that and talk about where you actually want to go. So if you want to break into new markets, new capabilities, you can set up your profile that way, and then the opportunities that are displayed to you will be very specific to where you're actually trying to go. This is also going to be covered in a breakout session. So Chrissy and Greg are doing one. I think that's the first breakout session at noon or 12:15. So they're going to be diving into the new user experience. And yeah, hope to see you all there. Next up on the list is Mila. So Kevin introduced Mila a little bit earlier, but Mila is your digital assistant. So we want you all to use Mila throughout the suites. So it doesn't matter really what record you're on, and I'm saying record because this could be a notice in Notices IQ, it could be a solicitation in GovSearchAI, it could be an opportunity in your CRM. We want you to use Mila to get quick answers to any questions you might have. So if you're working on an opportunity and someone pings you on Teams and says, hey, what were all the places of performance that were mentioned in that solicitation document we were looking at earlier, yes, you could go back and read and double check and make sure you have all the right answers, or just talk to Mila, type it in. Mila has access to these documents. It'll bring it back really quickly and give you guys the answers you need so that your team can spend far less time rereading and rereading again all these documents. And then last on my list today is Capture Copilot. So we're super excited about Capture Copilot. It is TechnoMile's domain-trained AI agent. It's really the next iteration of the Capture Scorecard. So any of you growth clients out there have the Capture Scorecard in your org today. And that Capture Scorecard was really a way to get your company's capture process on paper and in the system, but it never really helped your team perform the tasks or ultimately get that data back in the system. From talking with capture managers, like Mick, in fact, we know how much they love putting data into systems, and they really excel when you tell them to fill out opportunity data. And so we wanted to help them because we know that in the past when we release a feature, it usually requires a little bit of user input. They have to go put in a contact and say who they report to. Lots of complex stuff. But with Capture Copilot, they don't even have to do that. So all they have to do is click a button and start the Copilot. If they can't do that, then that's not our fault. So they just have to go to the scorecard, and they will launch the Copilot directly from there. It has our best practice capture process, and truly all you do is you go click on it, and it'll start that research process. So if you're looking for partners or competitors, if you're looking to research the customer, it's going to start off that agent. It's going to provide the data back to them. They don't even have to type anything in. And once that data is returned to them, they can still interact with it. They can dive deeper into it as they need to. But really, that'll help them get that information without having to spend hours at a time doing these capture activities. And then on top of that, it also will store that data in the CRM. So all of you out there that need to get reports out of the system, we hope it'll help you as well. You will no longer have to beg your capture managers to update the system. They don't have to block an hour off on Fridays for updating the CRM or anything like that. It'll all be in there. So Mick and I are going to be doing a deep dive into Capture Copilot. Like you mentioned, we're going to be showing agents live on opportunities in our breakout session. You'll see it on real opportunities it's not going to be as TechnoMile because we don't do business with the government, but we're going to be impersonating some vendors, and you'll see some real results of what we're able to do. So super excited to show you all that. But that's all that I have today. So I'm going to turn it over to Mai, and she's going to talk about contracts.
Good morning, everyone. I'm super excited to talk to you about the heart of federal contracting, your contracts. So we are all very familiar with the challenges that we experience with contracts that we receive from the federal government. They are very long. They are tedious to read. They have clins and slins and clauses sort of scattered across hundreds of pages. And within that, we have very vague statements about what are the requirements, what are the submission instructions. All of that information will be sort of all over the place. In addition to that, the contract and the solicitation isn't where our job ends. We also have to deal with mods and amendments, and we get those in volume. There's tons of them. They're unstructured, they're confusing, and to be frank, the way that they are structured is often dependent on the contracting officer who's writing them. So our goal is to figure out how we can help you deal with all of this in the simplest and most automated fashion possible. Today, I'm going to talk about Transform Copilot. Transform Copilot is our AI-enabled extraction tool, which is used for both federal contracts, mods, and now, new and being introduced today, solicitations. We're very excited for you guys to be able to use this intuitive process that pulls your clins, your slins, and your clauses out of your contract document, as well as some key data points, such as who are the points of contact, who's my issuing organization. All of that information is pulled out of your forms, pulled out of the documentation, and then displayed to you in an intuitive side-by-side interface where you can validate the information across the entire 100-page contract document. In addition to that, we also have AI summaries, which then take the contract document or the mod or the solicitation and provides you with a summarization of all of the information that is in the document that is most relevant to you. It focuses on key points, such as an overall summary of what the contract is, It also does a good job at analyzing things like the risk of the contract. Are my scope and deliverables clearly defined? Do I have a clear timeline? Are there areas where I just don't have enough information in the document that I have right now? So to wrap up, the business value of these items allows you to eliminate tons of manual data entry, saving your contracting managers a ton of time in their daily processes and allowing them to focus exclusively on things that add value to your business and to your organization. Next, I'd like to talk about pre-award management. This is another tool that is a part of the entire contract suite process and it's an excellent place from which your contract managers, your BD, your legal, and your proposal team members can all have a centralized collaboration tool. All the team members have the ability to utilize the pre-award process in order to track any solicitations that are coming out from the government, manage the proposals that you are submitting back or any responses that you're sending in response to those solicitations, deal with the complicated negotiation process and the back and forth that you need to go through when you're finalizing contract negotiations, and then, of course, manage TINA sweeps, which can be quite tedious. In addition to that, there are several automated workflows to help with internal reviews, approvals, and ensure that you are submitting compliant proposal documentation. This will help you speed up the cycle of completing pre-award analysis as well as submission of your proposals and ensures that the entire stakeholder team has visibility into what's going on with a particular solicitation response. It strengthens your compliance in all of the proposals that you are submitting and returning back to the government. And if you have Transform Copilot, it will also allow you to eliminate manual data entry of financials and clauses and provide summaries which can be shared out to all of your stakeholders to make sure that everybody is clear and up to date on exactly what the solicitation is and what is necessary in order to move forward. Next is Mila for contracts. Mila is your contract digital assistant. She acts basically as a contract manager. You can communicate with her as if she's on your team. She's been pre-trained to explicitly focus on what is important to the contract process and enables you to have rapid analysis of the solicitation or contract documents, amendments, and modifications in order to ensure that you are responding quickly and effectively to all of your contract needs. Mila also enables you to, on demand, produce artifacts, such as I could ask Mila a simple question, like, what's the NICS code for this particular contract document? Or I can ask Mila to give me something more complicated, like provide me a table of all of the deliverables that are located in this contract document so that I can then bring that out and utilize it in a different process. Mila helps you enhance your decision-making and keeps your executive team up to date on what's going on by allowing you to rapidly produce executive summaries or synopses of the contract or specific information that you're looking to capture and then share it out with them. And finally, we have contract agents. So an AI agent is something that uses data and information to summarize and then make an assessment of what it can do to assist you. They can do all kinds of things, such as send emails or create records in the system, which prevents you from having to do manual data entry based off of the information that's in the contract. We are going to be presenting 4 different agents today. The ingest agent, which automates creation of orders and deliverables from structured electronic sub-award contracts as well as delivery orders. The Cedrals to deliverable agent, which auto-generates deliverables from Cedrals or Transform Copilot inputs. The approval agent, which is going to speed up proposal and contract analysis by giving you an AI-driven review and recommendation based off of the information in the document. And then the executive summary agent, which reviews your entire ecosystem of contract information, looking at the whole portfolio to then summarize all of that data in your key risk factors and the contracts that you need to be paying attention to and focused on. This, again, saves you time, which is a primary focus of all of our contract tools, It ensures that you have the most effective information to make correct decisions moving forward and ensures that you have a better process for the future. Now I will be handing things off back to Mick and Kevin, and then we'll be talking about the future.
All right, everyone. So as it says, we're looking forward, and the very first thing that you need to know is that I do not have a crystal ball. So we're going to show you the future, our roadmap, what we really plan on doing, but as you understand, we are adaptive. We're going to change to what you say is important, and so some of the things that you would see, we may not get to, because we're going to do the things that are more important to you. So first, let's guiding out this roadmap. Okay, so I don't know if you want to take this. I'll do it. So AI first. AI first. As I said, AI took over our roadmap, and I'm not kidding. Every product and feature is going to have some sort of element in it if we can find the right place for it. It can't be literally everywhere. It has to provide substantial value. And we know that's going to happen because it's going to be industry specific. We know that what's going on. So if I can provide value by finding a way to get AI to make say adverse action comes in, we'll find a way, we'll put it in. Also, we understand that AI is going to be a teammate. And so we want to make sure it fits in the right way. And so guiding that sometimes it's going to respond, sometimes you're going to collaborate, it's the co-pilot, sometimes it's going to act independently. And finally, we're going to unify everything into an integrated whole. And I think we want to be able to see that opportunity, contract, your business, end to end. So we talk about basically from strategy all the way through contract closeout and making sure that information is all in one place.
So as you look in front of you, you see a slide that talks about where we're going in the end of 2025 into 2026. So for today, hopefully you'll see within that dotted box that says today, that's what you're going to see in the breakout sessions this afternoon, is we're going to talk about those products. Hopefully I can convince all of you to stick around at the end of the day, because we're going to really dive deeper into this roadmap to talk about what the rest of those boxes mean. But for those of you who want a little peek ahead, in talking to you all and sitting down and pontificating about the future, what we really decided on the growth side is when we went through that user experience group that I was talking about, one thing that they kept coming back is saying, Mick, my boss keeps asking about where we should go in the future. And really what your boss is asking is about portfolio management. Today, I'm really heavy in this service or capability. Is that what I should be having in the future, or is there a different service or capability? So then you have to do trade-offs with that to figure out if I'm going to invest in an anti-drone technology, do I need to just invest in it, or do I need to divest of this capability to pay for this? That's portfolio management. So we've already begun building that. Again, we had to have GovSearchAI in order to have all the content, and we had to have open source intelligence to be able to have all the content to drive that. In all the conversations we had, one thing that came crystal clear is this idea about account management. With LPTA, account management kind of died, except for hardware manufacturers that really focus on, I have specific accounts. Account management now is you go out and you hire a general or an admiral or an SCS and say, you're my account manager, and they do it. That's not true account management. And so we've set forth building a true account management tool, which this is what we're driving. So if any of you have ideas on that, Kevin and I stand here ready to take all of your ideas. It's you who drive a lot of what our thinking is. It's your business case that drives it. You'll see on the releases, as we typically announce 3 times a year, releases, you can see everything that's going on that we're working on for the releases. And then on the far right side there, you see a lot of what you all have told us is where does your system end and my ERP system begin, and it really comes into forecasting, and where are we going with risk management. So that integration with the ERP system and having an integrated back office to be able to answer all these questions and using these AI agents that we've been talking about to leverage all that, that's really what we're thinking about. It's not just this growth system. It's your ERP system, it's your SharePoint system, your knowledge repository. So that That's a huge driving force of everything that we're talking about. We were very proud when you saw the list of clients we have. We have, in my opinion, the sexy new aerospace and defense companies that are out there. And with those companies, it's a lot about order fulfillment. So we've really extended our capabilities and focused around how do you take orders, how do you actually take a master agreement and break it down into orders, so the order fulfillment. And then obviously, I can't get off the stage and talk about growth without talking about proposals. So we have a whole session this afternoon on proposals. TechnoMile, we actually started building a proposal system, and then we took a pause and we said, hey, with everything else going on, buy versus build decision. You all are having to make that decision when you come to TechnoMile. We're doing the same thing. And so we are actually going to be introducing a partnership with one of the best that we've seen out there in terms of proposals. They're actually out there, Pwin AI. We'll have a session with them, and we're going to show you how our capture capability feeds directly into that proposal system. So we're thinking about more and more, how do we go tooth to tail on that growth? So we are in 2026. Now that we have the foundation, now that we have the TechnoMile platform, this is what we're driving towards. And as always, we listen to you all. I think I've talked to most of you. I'm trying to look out in the crowd, even though that bright light's here. And I think I've had a personal conversation with each and every one of you at one point. You know my number. Call me, talk to me. We put together a customer advisory board. We hear that this is where you all are talking about. When we sit and think about it, this is where we think it's going. But if you need or think that we need to adjust this, we take your input. But please stick around this afternoon where we dive deeper into this.
I'll round up with the contracts roadmap. And what you're going to see in the 2026 releases is my army of AI. I have a whole suite of capabilities. In particular, what I want to call out is AI-based document generation, redlining, playbook management. So we really want to pull ahead a lot of the capabilities that are right now not been the focus. So you have a lot of capabilities in our agreement management to try to handle documents. We are actively working right now. And if you come to our session at the end, we're going to give you a demo of our vision in that capability and show you how we actually plan on using AI in that space to integrate it. The other areas of AI you see here on the left side, we want to have AI help us integrate contracts across our platforms, particularly with growth and pre-award. Right now, you've got a very straightforward, I want an opportunity, click, closed one, click, I create a contract. We have a little bit of stuff going on there, but we need a lot more AI-type workflows, and also integration with ERPs and other systems. Right now, it's very often a very large and cumbersome process. We can make these things work, but we think there are better ways for that, as well as for migrating a lot of the information that you all bring. So you'll definitely see a lot more in the last session of the day. Mick and I and Aaron will show that. So we want to thank you very much. This has been wonderful, loving to share our AI vision with you.